Hey, I'm doing an intro to the intro that I did yesterday. I was doing a lasagna cooking yesterday. Eat one, freeze one. And I did not like the way it turned out. The foil pan that I bought was not a true square where it was smaller. I knew when I picked it up, but I gave it a shot anyway because it's all the Dollar Tree had. And so it was too wide. Therefore, the lasagna was too thin and there was not enough sauce. Plus, I think I might allude to it in what you're getting ready to see. The Crockpot I used is Crockpot brand, and it is a digital one that you can program the time. It cooks so hot. I've told David before, I'm going to start cooking on warm instead of low because it boils at low. So my sauce I didn't watch after it because I wasn't thinking. So it had boiled down by like maybe that much, and it's not supposed to do that. It's just supposed to simmer. So it got just too overdone tasting. It was too dark tasting is a good way to describe it. Now, I went ahead and wrapped up the other one for the freezer, and I'm going to show you that part too. I'm going to show you the part, my intro, where I'm explaining the idea that I've had mulling around in my head for like a month or so. Instead of going over again here, and then instead of showing you the cooking of that lasagna, you can make your own lasagna, and I'll just show you a couple little tips that help you freeze it, easier for later. But we'll address the elephant in the room first, and that would be this frock that's as colorful as my tattoo. Please, somebody tell me I'm not the only one that owns house dresses, okay? It is such a southern thing. When I grew up with my mama, we wore house dresses. She wore house smocks because she worked in the mill. We had a cotton mill, and everybody in town worked at the cotton mill. She wore smocks, so that was her thing. So I went through a period in my first marriage in my 20s where I wore smocks. They had pockets for whatever you're doing around the house. Listen, I was country. Y'all, I was country. I'm still country, but I'm not that country. I don't wear my smocks no more. Of course, I don't do the stuff I used to do anymore. Anyway, so I've not done laundry because y'all know I've been sick. And so all my clothes had got dirty, and I got out of the shower, and I went in there, and there was not a pair of shorts to be seen except for the little tight shorts, thin shorts that I keep to wear under dresses. Because I refuse, TMI or not, I refuse to wear a dress with no shorts under it because I just don't. So anyway, I wear the little shorts under these house dresses. So at one point, this was about like the only things I could get on because, like I said, the shorts just wouldn't fit. I wore these to the Y. At one point, I was a member of the Y, so I could get in the pool, and that just got to be so expensive, so I quit that. It was very helpful, very beneficial, but I just couldn't afford $60 a month. Then I added Weight Watchers on top of it for another $20. That's a big chunk if you don't have it, But I want to show you this. If you can see, let me pop up. You're going to see my bra. Y'all wear them. Can you see how far that goes out? Yes. So I think that's an accomplishment. Maybe that was a good reason that I had to get out of house dress so I could see how far I've come. Now, I didn't bust out of it. I'm busting out of it, but it was not this loose. It was fitting. So anyway, I'm just gonna get on. I'm gonna show you the intro from yesterday because I wanted that information still stands. There's nothing changed about the information, just the recipe that went along with it is what changed. And so I'm doing another one today that also will go in the freezer, and we'll get a couple recipes off of that this week. Hey y'all, I still got this mess. I haven't got over it yet. I'm trying. It's not working too good, but I'm trying. And I had already planned to do this video. I don't necessarily want to do it sick, but what I'm making, I'm not going to make again for a while. So if I don't make it now, then it'll be who knows when, and I really want to do it. I'm going to show you a little something different tonight because I've been in the planning stages of doing some freezer cooking for you. Back when the kids were little, I did, at that time, that was known as OMAC, once a month cooking. They call it whatever they call it now. I think maybe that still is a term, out there, but that was like the first time I had heard of it was that. And that's back when we had AOL. I know y'all remember AOL. I was going to try to get through this video without coughing, but it didn't quite work. So anyway, I've been planning it. I've been talking to my husband about it, get some feedback. Because, he knew what I did. He lived through it. He ate the food. He knew. And so I've been taking notes, things I used to do, things I want to do. And I was talking with somebody else about it today. We were discussing it. And so then I got to thinking about it again. I'm like, you know what? Instead of waiting, which this one's not waiting, but I wanted to do it now because I'm not going to make a lasagna now and turn around and do a video on freezer cooking and make another one because I don't need that many lasagnas in my freezer. Now, if you have a big family, maybe. But I got to thinking, I'm not the same woman I was 20 years ago. I don't have the same stamina. I don't have the same physical abilities. I cannot stand over at that counter and cook for a full day like I used to do. Just cook all day. Like one day you go shopping and do some prep work and then the next day you do cooking all day. So you're wore out. I'm like, I don't see that happening. I had in my mind high ideals, but to make it come to fruition, I don't think that would happen. So then I'm like, but I could still do it doing what I've done over the years. And that's when you make something, you make double, you eat one, you freeze one. Then you have one in your freezer. You do that every day, then before you know it, you got a freezer full of meals. So instead of waiting to do to show you how to do 1 month, because I was going let's do this, and then the next time, we'll focus on this ingredient, and then I was going to do like a little series maybe. But I'm like, you know what? Some of y'all, you may not need a month's worth of food. You might not want to pay for a month's worth of groceries on top of what you're paying for. You might not can't afford it. We can't necessarily afford it. David was going to do it because he knew this was a project that was important to me. But it's not like, he's jumping up and down. Woohoo, I'm going to give you money for a month's worth of groceries. But then I'm like, you know what? We can just do them as we go. Make extra, eat half, freeze half. Simple as can be. So it's not really any harder to cook two of something than it is one. This, for example, soup. It is no harder to throw extra ingredients in there to get 2 batches of soup as it is 1 batch. It's no harder, and then you've got a whole meal in your freezer ready to go. So instead of doing the one big one, I'm just going to start, as I make things that freeze well, I'm going to make enough for now and for later. I can double up what I'm going to make. And then we'll just go through and I'll show you how we freeze it. You tell you the best way to, cook it once you take it out. The joy of, and I wish I could do it, the joy of opening your freezer and seeing stacks of ready-to-go meals was just, same with my cannon. I have a picture of Holly when she was 2 years old, and she's standing in the kitchen on the chair in front of the kitchen table, and in the corner behind it, I had a set of shelves, and back then, I decorated country style, lace dollies and stuff like that. That was my thing, it was country style. And so my shelf was decorated. I had like red and white plaid on the shelves, where the jars sit, and I had like lace on the front. It was really cute, but the shelves were full of things that I canned. If it was cannable, I canned it. If it was freezable, I froze it. I would preserve any kind of food we got, because our philosophy was, the thing was, he worked, I stayed home. That was our agreement. We were going to have Holly. I was going to stay home with her, just like I stayed home with RJ. So his job was to work, make the money. My job was to stretch his money. I say his money, you know what I mean, as far as I could make it go. So he made it, and I made it go further. So that's why I would do anything and everything. Some of the things that I did, the tips and stuff that I would have, y'all would probably laugh at them, because people these days, now some of y'all my age, I'm 57, some of y'all that are my age, you would understand. You would totally understand. You would get it. The younger people, they wouldn't get it, because it's a dying art. I guess you can call it an art. There is an art to saving money and stretching money in some very creative ways that some people might say, well, why would you bother doing that? Okay, I'm going to give you an example. Just the other day, I say, and this tells you how many deodorants I had. We had a store in town that did Bilo. I don't know if y'all know Bilo. And they always did double coupons. Well, they would run the best sales, a lot of buy one get one free sales, and then double coupons on top of that. I used to get tons and tons and tons. I cannot even describe to you how much food and toiletries and cleaning products that I used to get up there for free. I'm telling you, they would, like David said, he said, honey, they paid you to take that stuff home. I'm like, I know, because I did couponing, and my mama, she had everybody saving coupons, so I got a bunch of them, so I had, multiples that I could get multiple items from. I had a cool binder made. I saved it. I don't do coupons anymore, because the only place that does them is Harris Teeter, and they jack their prices up so high that even if you use a coupon, you can still go to Walmart and get it cheaper. So I don't use coupons for the thrill of using coupons. I use them to save the money. One of the things I had gotten was some deodorant. Now, they've been gone a few years, and this ought to tell you how much deodorant I had stockpiled, because I just ran out of deodorant. I got to the end. Well, every time, I use the solid stick. Every time I finish one, I stick it in my drawer back there in the bedroom. So I got to the bottom. I'm like, well, it's time. I didn't realize one of the other ones I had still had, I don't know, yay much in it. So I just used it too. I get me a little plastic knife over there, scrape it out. I have a glass measuring cup that I use just for these type of things, because I make like ointments and stuff like that. I do that too. Scrape the excess out in there, pop it in the microwave, melt it until it's liquid. Use one of your other empty deodorant containers, screw the thing where it goes all the way down, pour the liquid deodorant in there, let it sit and harden up. You've got practically a free deodorant. Okay, why would I do that? Well, why not? What else was I going to spend 5 minutes on? I can sit here and watch TV for 5 minutes, or I can just go over there, melt some deodorant, and have me a free deodorant. That's probably funny to a lot of people, but to me, that is how we survived, doing little things like that. So I don't even know how I got on that. I guess just to say that saving money can come in all forms, and one of the biggest places to save money is your food budget, without a doubt. I used to be the scratch queen. My son, he's still, to this day, and he is 33 years old, he will say, if you're talking about food, it hadn't been that long since he said it, you'd be talking about food or saving money or stretching a dollar, he says, yep. Mama says, give her a bag of taters and a sack of flour, and she'll feed you for, a week, whatever. I'm like, because that's what I used to say. You give me a sack of taters, a sack of flour, and I will feed you, honey, I will make you all kind of stuff. I don't need nothing else. You know what I mean. So I used to be that way, and I miss being that way because I'm not able, first of all, but then just the two of us, we don't really use a whole bunch that we would maybe save that much. When you have a family, by all means, you will save money. All that just to say, I've decided instead of doing one big freezer cooking like the old days, we'll just, as we cook, make two. One for the freezer, one to eat. So I'm going to hush it up, and I may just go over here since it's getting close to supper time, and lasagnas take a little bit, you know. I may go on over and just get started right now. I believe I just might. So I will see you at the stove. All right, now we're ready to get this ready for the freezer. Get you some heavy duty foil. Don't use the thin stuff. It's too, it pokes the holes in it too easy. Okay, now we got that all covered. Get you a Sharpie. Sharpie. Not just some regular black marker. The Sharpie's going to hold up for you. This is a lasagna. Thawed. And no, I do not have a good hand right. Thawed. 30 to 40 minutes. Because that will depend. Frozen. 50 plus minutes at 350. Today is October I think the 12th. So we'll just stick that on there, and we will know when we made it and how to cook it. Now, here's another little tip that I wish they had way back when. Y'all know the foam core board they sell at the dollar store, like for school projects and whatnot? Get you one. Make it a little bit bigger than whatever pan you're using. When you put your dish in the freezer, put that on it. That way you can use your space, because you, like this, you can't stack nothing on that. Even once it's frozen, if you put it on there, it's going to bust that tin foil. Like that. Completely usable. Your lasagna is safe. You don't have extra room taken up in the freezer. Good to go. So there you have it. Okay, we're going to get started on my Crockpot chicken base. I was going to do this tomorrow, but I've been up early. It's quiet in the house. Holly's gone to work. The guys are still sleeping. I've got some meal prep to do today, but it's seriously not tough. You know, I was going to have us eat out, but I'm going to switch up and go ahead and cook today, and then I'll figure out something else for tomorrow. The first thing we need to do, though, is to cut these chicken breasts. These giant things are the stuff nightmares are made of. What kind of chickens do they grow these days? I cannot stand these big old things. I want to show you first. Okay, to use this, I'll get to that. You need a sharp knife. Nice thin one that'll go. You see how, you need to at least clear the, I think it's called cut. It's the Pampered Chef. Cutting something. I don't know. We'll look at it in a second. This, I got off Amazon. I can't remember if I showed you this before or if it got edited, but I think I remember talking about Gordon Ramsay. You know how he does that sharpening steel? Girl cannot do that. So sharpen it 4 or 5 times on the sharpener side, and this is more like I don't really know the proper term, but you do it afterwards. So how many every times you sharpen it, do it the same way for that. Now you know what's fixing to happen. Correct. I like to put plastic on stuff. Like my little hamburger press, I like to put plastic on that, and then I'll have to wash it. But this it's kind of hard to put plastic on here and still get a good cut without it rolling up. But the way this works, these are spring loaded. Put your chicken right here, these big thick things, clamp it down, and then we're just simply gonna hold it down, cut through, and it will cut that thing vertically. Okay, now it works for me when I'm in here by myself. Fingers crossed, it's gonna work for me here in front of you. Let's see. I apologize, I kind of have my back to you, but you'll be able to see. And I'll cut off any icky stuff that I need to. So I have it in like that. I'm gonna cut it. That's, look at that. You see how it's hanging over on the side? That could become an issue. We'll just have to see. It's got no skid on the bottom, that's why I'm having a hard time turning it. Get your knife. Let's see. Hold it good and firm because you don't want the chicken slipping around. You want the knife just to cut through it. And you can kind of use the, can you hear it rubbing? So you use that as your guide to run along the top of the, let me show you what we end up with. Now you see I didn't get down far enough, so see how thin that one is? And this one's a little bit, still a little bit thicker. So I didn't quite get down far enough on that one. But these are going in the crock pot. So they don't have to be as precise. I just did not want to have these big 3-inch thick balls of chicken once they've cooked in the crock pot. Because you know how they do, you know how they puff up. And then it just makes it harder to shred. And I use those little shredding scissors. And so it's harder to muscle through those things when they're so doggone thick. Now, I normally use 6 chicken breasts. Ooh, come on now. And what I'm thinking, that is probably close to what a normal size 6 chicken breasts would be. But I plan on getting 3 recipes out of what I'm fixing to make. And I want to be for certain that I do have enough chicken. Like in the casserole I'm making today, not as important because there'll be broccoli in it. You know, for the enchiladas I'm making, I'm going to need a little bit more chicken to give it some bulk. So I think I may go ahead and do at least 1 more. These are my, look at the size of that. My goodness. These are my 3 chicken breasts. In case you did not see my grocery haul, and in case you did not see, yeah, it was all on my grocery haul because later on when I edited, I put a little note up there. These chicken breasts were in the Walmart grocery app for 99 cents a pound, okay? So I ordered 2 packs. If I could afford it, I would have ordered more because you don't get chicken for 99 cents a pound. I just had an inkling something was gonna not be right, so I took a screenshot of that page that showed 99 cents a pound. Lo and behold, I picked them up, I come home, I looked on the package, they were $1.99 a pound. So I was like, no, we can't have that. So I called customer service, explained it to the first girl. She understood. She said she's gonna get the local store where I got it, their meat department, online while I hold, and see if she can let them know what's happening, you know. Next thing I know, I hear this, oh, I'm like, hello? He's like, yeah. I'm like, you know, like, who is this? And he said, it was the meat department. I'm like, oh, I was on with customer service who was supposed to be calling you. I was not supposed to be calling you. Hold on, let me get my manager. So she comes to the phone. Yeah, well, our store number is so-and-so, so-and-so. And I'm like, you know, she knows that because she was calling you. You know, that's what I'm thinking. So I hang up, call back, and, you know, you get somebody different every time. So this time I get a little fella. He didn't seem to understand at first. Then he says he wanted to put me on hold, do whatever. He would call me back so I wouldn't have to sit on hold while he figured it out. I'm like, okay, that's good. Well, it wasn't long I got a phone call back. He said, I've got it straightened. I will refund you one package, which would make it half. Cool. I can deal with that. I get my email. I was refunded one package if it was 99 cents a pound, not the $1.99 a pound I paid. So, third time, I'm thinking hopefully is a charm. I call back, and this time I get a little girl. I go through the whole thing again. I told her, this is my third phone call. You know, I'm trying to get this resolved. Whether she understood or not, I really don't know. But she did understand that I was refunded one package of chicken, and she said since it's in the system that it was refunded, I cannot refund it again. Well, you know, I understand that. She goes, but for your troubles, I will give you a promo code to use on your next order whenever you want to use it. I said, well, that'll work. Then she goes, and since you had to call 3 times, I will make it for $15. So I got right at $20 worth of chicken. I got a little over $5 in a refund and $15 on my next order. So I got my chicken for free. I think it's going to taste really, really good in these casseroles and things, don't y'all? Okay, now I got my chicken. I think this is going to be enough. So I'm going to head over to the crock pot and I'll meet you over there. Okie doke. Me and my mountain of chicken are over here getting ready to. And so I thought, well, it'll be easier. Oh, there we go. Whew. It was kind of sealed. I thought it'd be easier than having to worry if my big crock pot is clean or not. I know this is a bag, but I want all my soup to come out. And so I'm using a can of cream of chicken, a cream of mushroom. It's the health request. They're lower in points. I don't have the points right in front of me. But I do know once these are separated out, I don't think, I could be wrong, but as many servings as this is going to make, I don't think we're going to end up having to count any points. I will decipher that when it gets through later on. Now, I also make a version that uses a can of French onion soup. I use that. I'm using my quiet whisk, so maybe I can talk at the same time. I use the one with French onion in it to use like over noodles or rice or cream potatoes, stuff like that. If I make casserole, enchiladas, tetrazzini, I leave the French onion soup out because that's just too much extra flavor that you don't need. Okay, so we've got the two soups mixed together. Now, what do I tell you? Season your meat. I don't want it too salty, so I'm not going to hit it hard, and I'm only going to hit one side with my trusty house seasoning. So I'm just going to hit a little bit, but enough to give it some flavor. Now, I just want to scoop just a little. Try not to get my body in front of you. You can't really see them there, but I'm just spreading a little bit out on the first layer of chicken. And I'm going to put my other ones across those because I don't want them stacked up and sticking together. I think I get one more right there. Hit it a little bit. Another little bit of the soup. And what we're going to do with this, I just call it, like I think I said, my crock pot chicken base. I have 2 recipes that I'm making this week that use this. And then I'm going to freeze the third portion for another day. This is part of what I was telling you in my intro that I have been working on bringing y'all. And I had this on my menu, so I thought, well, we'll just go and get started with it, right? Put the last little bit. You don't need to add water because you that cooked chicken in Crockpot before, you know that the chicken will let off a lot of juice and you don't want to water it down any further. So there we just made 3 layers of chicken with our soup on it. I'll get it here in a minute. Stick the lid on. I'm going to crank it on low, and it should only take 4 to 5 hours. I'm going to come back in a couple hours and check it. If it doesn't look like it's getting ready fast enough for me, because I want to go on and get some things done, I'll crank it up to high and let it finish. Key is just keep your eye on it. You don't want it to go over because you don't want to get a burnt taste on your, or an overcooked taste on your soup, because it'll start sticking to the sides if you're not careful, and then you'll just it'll get an old flavor. So we're going to let that go. Gives me a few hours to do some other stuff, and then I'll see you later when we start to portion this out and make our casserole. I wanted to show you what I did with the rest of the chicken breast. I went ahead and sliced them all in half. So you saw how much I put in the crock pot. It ended up being what, 4 or 5 chicken breasts? I already forgot. So slice them in half. There you got either 8 or 10. Here I have 19 halves. So I had 19. So how many of a chicken breast that is together? I doubled it. These big ones, now that is too big for a serving. I'll cut that mess right there off. These are too big for a grilled or something of that nature. So these big ones, they'll be perfect for stewing to shred. And then these other ones, the big ones, I can give my husband. And, you know, these are perfect portion sizes. The way they were was just way too big. I don't care if it is a 0-point food. Don't mean you need to eat a bucket of it. That serving size is plenty. I sprayed this foil because over the years I have found that frozen foods will still stick to tin foil if you don't spray it. See where they're touching right here? They'll freeze together right there. So when you take them off, you'll have to pop them like that. So I will stick these in the freezer, let them get solid. Then I can just keep them all in gallon bags and pull out how many I need as I need them. Now I want to show you this, because this gagged me. This is why there's 19 and not 20. Look at that. You see that? That was not going on my plate. I'm not even cutting any usable chicken off of that because that is gross. I just thought I'd share that with y'all. So here you go. There's my whole bunch of free chicken and a crock pot full. So like I said before, I will be back when that gets through, and then we'll get to the casserole. It's been about 3.5 hours, and I could smell it. I've been checking on it, but I could smell it, and I could tell it was getting done. The soup was. You can't see, but it's just starting to get a little bit brown. Not to the point of no return. But, so I'm going to take my chicken out. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to let this cool before I start to shred it up, because if I get my hands down towards that, it is going to burn like the dickens. This stuff is scalding. So while this is cooling, I'm going to fix my cup of coffee and head out on my front porch and watch the rain. I've not been out all morning. I've been doing something, and I love the rain. Y'all have no clue. When I was a little girl, I stayed at this little old lady's house from church. Mama worked. I don't remember how long I stayed with her. Her name was Miss Murph. She lived down the street from the church, and she had a screened-in front porch in her little old wood house. And I would just be so lonesome for my mama to come get me. Not that she was a mean woman, just I was lonesome. Those are my very first memories of loving the rain. When it would rain, I would go out there by myself on her front porch and just watch and listen and smell the rain coming through the screen. And I have loved it ever since. So I'm going to head out there. I'll get back in here when this stuff cools off, and then we'll just go from there. I had my coffee. I listened to the rain. It was beautiful. Now I'm going to take my little food chopping scissors. Again, it's Pepper Chef, and I have no idea what they're called. I just like to use them because I think I've told you before. I've tried to do the the mixer. I've tried it several occasions, and I watch people do it, and it doesn't matter what I try. It does not work for me. I end up with a gummy, just mess of chicken. So, yeah, these thin ones cut a whole lot nicer. Okay, my hand got really tired, so I got out my handy dandy chopper. We'll just do it this old-fashioned way. I can't really do it with 2 forks either. I don't know about y'all, but I don't have too good of luck with 2 forks either. I could get in there with my hands and kind of pull it apart, I guess. But this works too. Okay, I got it chopped. Some of it's a little bit bigger than others. If I have any extra big ones, I'll chop them up as I go. But I want to measure it and see how many cups I have. Pack it down. So that looks like about 5 cups. So I'm only going to use a cup for my casserole. That'll leave me 2 cups for my enchiladas and 2 cups for the freezer. Now hang on a minute. I want to measure my soup, because you know it's mixed with the chicken broth that cooked off of that. So there's a lot more than what we originally put in. So just hold on a minute. All right, the soup is 3. I keep holding that up. The soup is 3 cups. So let me take out. Hold on. Let's do a cup of the chicken. Okay, I got my cup of chicken in here. I've got 3 cups here. I think I'm going to do half a cup. I can get up here and see very well. For my casserole. So that will leave me 2.5 cups. So that would be 1 3/4 cups for each of the other dishes. So I think this, once I add the sour cream to it, I think that will be fine. Now, let me get my little baggie holders. Okay, I'm only going to mark 1 bag. Crockpot chicken base. 2 chicken. 1 3/4 soup. And 10, 13. Okay, now the other one I'm going to put in this bowl and just stick in the fridge. This little thing is one of the handiest little gadgets. I'm going to tell you what, I used to stick it in cups, but sometimes you can't really get the mouth open good enough. So it's got like this little no stick. 2 cups, and I'm just going to try to eyeball this. Look at there. You know, if I was doing that by myself, that would not have fallen down. But you know what? It didn't spill, so I call that a win. Anytime it don't spill. Y'all, I made my coffee without a cup again the other morning. That's 2 times here lately. Okay, squeeze all your air out. Now, how I like to freeze things like this in bags. Squeeze as much air out as you can. I found this umpteen years ago in a thrift store. It's one of those, like, restaurant pack pans. It works perfect for stuff like this. Like, put it in there, smush it. I can get that liquid out later. So you stick this in the freezer, and it's going to freeze perfectly flat. No lumps or bumps in through the freezer shelves or other foods or whatever. So we'll pop this in the freezer. And this one, we will just put in here for our chicken enchiladas later on in the week. So there we have 3 meals out of, what did we determine? Was it 4 or 5 chicken breasts? We'll see when we go back. So 4 or 5 chicken breasts, and we just got 3 meals out of it. There's another win. I'm going to clean this up, come back, and we're going to make us a chicken broccoli casserole. First thing we want to do is assemble the filling. Now I'm just using the same bowl I had the chicken in because it's got chicken in it, so I'm not worried about that. Here is the chicken in the soup. Now, there's not as much soup in this as if I put a whole can. So what's going to happen when I get everything mixed up, if it looks like I need some milk, then I'm just going to add a splash of milk. Normally it would be a can of cream of mushroom soup, or you can use cream of chicken, and a cup of sour cream. Since this is not quite a can, I'm going to do a half a cup. I don't want to overpower it, but I do want that flavor because it's very delicious. Let me mix that in. I just know we don't want a dry casserole. Okay, just a steam bag of broccoli. I think I'm dripping everywhere. Just gonna dump that in there. I'm not using my garbage bowl because I don't feel like washing it. Ugh. I tell you. 1 cup of the Cabot 75% light cheese. Use any cheese you want. Just calculate your points. And I have not calculated these points for the filling yet, the chicken yet. But I will do that, and I will put that on the screen. Now I'm not going to calculate for the chicken since it's free, and I pulled it out separately. And there's not enough that stuck to that chicken that I think we should be concerned with points. But I will plug those 2 cans of soup into the recipe builder, get the amount, and then kind of go from there. Now, we like, and you do not have to put this in yours, but we like a little bit of raw onion in ours. It does cook. It doesn't stay raw like if it was on a salad, but it maintains some of its crunchiness, and we've got to where we like it like that. Now, if y'all can see that, I think it might be a little dry. I'm going to add some milk to it. Skim milk, because that's what we drink. This is not what you're supposed to measure liquids in, but it's there. And there ain't no way there's much of a difference for points. Yeah, I think that'll do. Hold on. So it's not too watery, but see how it's loosened up a little bit. All right, now let me get the stuffing and we'll assemble this thing. And now we're gonna put it together. This is maybe an 8x8, I'm not sure. Pampered Chef. Looks to be like maybe a 2-quart casserole. I just know I don't like this in a 9x13 because I think it's too dry. It dries out too easy that way. So spray whatever pan you're using. Now, I just use the Great Value. I don't have any favorites. Now this is where you're gonna laugh at me, because who's all about a shortcut? This girl. 1 year, I won't say one day, 1 year ago, not 1 year, some number of years ago, I wanted to make one of these casseroles, but did not want to make the stuffing. Every time I make the stuffing, it's a gommed up mess. Never could get it sprinkled over the casserole right, and I got tired of it. So, put my little thinking cap on. This is what I came up with. Leave your stuffing in the bag. Get you some really hot water. Pour a little bit in there. Not much. Just work it around. Just enough to get down in there and moisten things up a bit. Go a little more. Now, half on the bottom, half on the top. I do this number right here. Then I dump what I consider half. Just kind of spread it around. Take all the filling. Spread it around. And it's just kind of loosened up the other half of your couple of them got a little more wet than others, but they come right apart. So spread that out. Pop this in the oven at 350, about 30 minutes, till you can start seeing it bubbling around. You're done. I'm just going to hold this. I'm going to scoop me out some. I've been letting it cool here about probably 20 minutes. This will make 6 servings. It'll go higher in points if you go 4. If you wanted to go like 4 big ones. But I'm going to try the best I can to guesstimate what might be 1/6. And 1/6 is 6 points. So it's not necessarily a low point casserole, but it's the stuffing. The filling is low, but the stuffing is where it gets you. Okay, I got me a fork. Come over here. I'm going to have me some lunch because I have not eaten. And it is right at 2 o'clock. So you pardon me while I get me a little bite of this. Because I'm curious if it turned out as good as I think it did. Okay, it did. Now, if you make it, I hope you enjoy it. I will put the recipe as written for just the soup, if you want to go that route. Or if you want to make the soup, the Crockpot chicken base to freeze, I'll have that. So I hope maybe today you got your little idea. If you do decide to make it, you can get 3 meals out of just a handful of chicken breast and really stretch your dollar and have something quick and ready to go. So I hope you enjoy this video, and we'll freeze some more stuff later on.